spreads and infects everyone, we're here to talk about the nevers.
Or some of everyone, but not everyone.
Right. Some
There
people
you
are
go.
either resistant or not worthy or whatever the final reason is.
Okay.
Or, hi, so welcome everybody. You can tell by the music next door, we're gonna have to fight the sound because they're singing to the geek sing along or name that tune or whichever it is, I don't know. So if they get too loud, everybody just maybe yell, "That's Star Wars," or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
Or run over and yell in their room and then come back.
You're singing flat.
there you go.
That is not the key.
Should we do introductions first, maybe?
Sure. Hey guys, my name is Michael Collins. I am a co-host and theory prognosticator for the Fandom Hybrid podcast. We do a lot of fantasy, Marvel, and other things like The Walking Dead and things of that nature. And I watched all of it, and I'm pretty conflicted about it, but we'll get into that later.
Jon-Paul Estes. I've discovered on all these panels, I'm the one person who has to say, I don't have a podcast, I don't have a website, I don't write for anything. I'm just a big geek and love it, and love doing these panels. So that's my one credit.
That's all that matters.
Excellent. So I'm Toni, and now you're not alone. As I like to say, I'm a fan with an opinion. And this handsome one is my other half.
Yes, my name is Alex Ware. Her husband, and yes, she does have an opinion, whether I like it or not. Or
BJ Trimble.
yeah,
He doesn't have to agree with it. We've
I've
established that.
Yeah, I've hung out with Kelly for a while. I love that woman. She's awesome. And I love doing stuff for her whenever I can when we come out here. So.
Kelly? That's your talking
Yeah,
about?
Kelly. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's give a big shout out. She's terrific. Yeah, our great track director is not here, but she's great.
Yeah.
And I'm Henry Hanks, and I've been fortunate enough to be doing these panels for over 20 years, thanks to Kelly, and thanks to Aaron back there, who was a track director before that. Those of you who are long-time DragCon people remember that. But yes, I've been doing writing over the last few years. CNN, Sci-Fi, some other websites like that, and very happy to be here talking about a show that we were very much anticipating, and it'll be interesting to hear what people think of how it ended. I guess this is it. So.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious, just so we know when we're talking, we'll just one question at a time. How many people have never seen any of the Nevers?
Well,
Where have you been?
Okay.
Yeah, but you have to be here.
How many of you have only seen the first 6, the original 6 episodes?
Okay,
About half.
spoilers, are you all okay with spoilers?
I assume that means the few hands that are left, you've seen the second half, or at least
about
part of
half
the
have
second-
seen half.
Half of it now. Okay.
Except for mine.
Except for 9, we'll get to that.
If you don't want to hear it, put your
Right.
ears in the air
So
and
do
go
we,
la
do
la
we,
la.
do we start with my original question? For those of us who haven't seen the other 6, do we shell out the bucks to see the other 6? Or do we just sit on what we know and be happy?
We will ask you
Well-
that question when we're done.
Okay.
Well, it's technically streaming on Tubi and Roku, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
at
Which
least-
are technically, well, Roku you got to buy Roku, but otherwise they're free.
Not that channel though, that one you can see free.
Right, Tubi is free, so you don't have to shell out anything.
But you have
You
to
have
figure
to-
out when it is, and you can't record it, so you have to actually watch it
You have-
when it's showing.
It's like old time, like 1970s TV, or when you had to be there to watch it when it comes on. That's how you do it.
Yeah. Unless you have a VCR, which yes,
Yeah.
I do. I don't think it works, but I think I have it somewhere in a box.
Yes, you can, I was gonna say, if you set up a VCR, if you set up an HDMI to USB converter and download the right software and sit at your computer at the right times to hit stop and start and stop and
What
start.
you did.
And I don't know anything about that, I'm just saying
Get
that
his
can be
information.
done.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, you can be master control person at any television station because
Absolutely.
you figured it out.
Yeah.
If that's still something they do, I don't know. But, I don't know.
I don't know.
No, the robot overlords have probably taken that over,
Yeah.
and we welcome our robot overlords.
Sweet.
The robot overlords decide when the Nevers airs.
So,
First, I want to ask a question.
Yeah, go.
How many liked the first 6 episodes? Wow.
I'm gonna put up 2 hands.
How many like the first
Well, sure,
5
yeah.
episodes?
Well, okay, I'll say that.
Oh yeah, 6 was a little bit of a controversy.
Yeah.
6, I went, did I miss something? And I literally was like going, okay, let's go back, and I rewatched 5,
Yeah.
and then I went, what the heck happened?
So that is something I don't. Controversies about Joss Whedon aside, I mean, he's been with us for a long time, creating lots of content we like.
We should know better.
Did anybody watch Dollhouse?
Loved
prior
it.
to that? Okay, so Dollhouse, when season 1 ended, they put out a DVD set of the season, and there was a special episode only on that DVD set that they did the exact same type of thing. It
Oh.
flashed forward to the future. It wasn't the same story.
Oh, the
but it-
Felicia Day episode.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it flashed forward to the future and told you what's coming, and you're watching this going, what the heck? Am I watching the same show? Did they put a pilot for something else? So,
And then Fox didn't even air that one.
Right,
I think they
never
were
aired it.
so thrown off by it. They were like,
Right.
"We're not even put this on."
but it was very cool because if you watched it, there was a lot of stuff then laid during season 2 where they showed this is how we're leading towards what we just showed you is coming in the future. So it's a trick that Josh uses in his writing that he then used in episode 6.
But it wasn't even really in the future,
Yeah, the
which
flashback.
really threw me.
Oh, the flashback.
You
to the
couldn't
future.
tell which,
Flashback of-
where it was gonna be, and that,
Right.
yeah,
So-
I was trying to see who was who, which, you know, at least one character was still the same actor, but the rest of them, I was like, okay, if she's her, then who is all these other people that I've gotten invested in and I wanna know more about, and where are they? What happened? And then it just got really dark and angry.
Well, I discovered it's amazing when you're watching it the second or third or fourth or whatever time, if you remember that episode and stuff about it, how much they told you almost every one of those bits during the first 5 episodes. And
Oh, right.
There's at one point, she's in front of a mirror by herself. This is true, Amelia, and she runs a finger across her face. There's no scar or anything, but the real her had the scar. They mention so many little comments that if you don't know what's coming, it's taken one way, completely, perfectly written. But when you know, it means something completely different. I mean, that's, again, his writing was very, very tightly crafted in those first 6 episodes. Number 6 aside, whatever how you feel
Yeah.
about it, it was
Yeah.
still very, very tightly
Yeah.
integrated.
And that was why I kept being willing to keep watching, because the acting was awesome. I was invested in the characters. The writing is always awesome. Some of the characters I stopped liking.
What did everybody else think
Dramatic
about
music.
the second half? Yeah.
Da-da-da!
Yeah, what did we think about the second half?
I'm trying to still make sure I remember it right, but I liked it. Look, I'm a fan of. It's so hard to be. Sorry.
Yeah, his Stargate
I-
music that
Game-
we're fighting against here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you picked it up.
I-
sorry.
Yeah.
I liked it, but it's like it's kind of a love-hate thing with me because it's like I try to put the art before the artist, but it's like sometimes you just can't. So it's like I appreciate a lot of things that he did, and I actually love the show. I think the show is outstanding, and I like some of the things that he does, but some of the things he does do tend to be kind of repetitive, and it's something that you've seen in a Josh Whedon show before, and you're just kind of like, okay, here we go again. So
Damn
it's
you,
like-
Josh.
But I mean, I still like the show. It's just I just kind of was like, golly, okay, all right, cool.
And for those who may not be as familiar or remember as well or whatever, Joss Whedon in his heyday, even before the Avengers and all that, was such a big deal. They had an entire track at Dragon Con about Joss Whedon.
Yes.
That's how big of
Yeah,
a
the
thing it
Whedon
was.
tracks.
That's right. Oh my gosh.
But when it was announced that Joss was stepping down or whatever you want to call it, I think he didn't want to be the distraction for HBO and didn't want to cause problems and just step down is what I'm thinking, or they told him to step down. But regardless, when that came out, and you heard, okay, it's a brand new group of people. Jane Espenson was also writing some episodes. She didn't write any of these last 6 episodes. So it really was from as far as I know, a brand new crew of people doing these 6 episodes.
That's why it
And
changed.
we've never had a season, I don't think, that the people doing the first half and the second half were totally different people
Oh, God,
writing and
yes.
creating.
You'll
And
get
so
that if you watch it.
when you hear that, you're like, there's no way this is going to work. You can't overhaul this show completely, halfway through the season. And that's what
But
the second half was not as strong as the first half, I'll say that.
But there was, it was one show done in one season.
Yeah.
We just didn't see it for 2 years.
And there was like 2 years between
So they
shooting
had-
the episode.
They had, so they did
Yeah,
take
the-
time
yeah.
between?
Yes.
COVID also hit at the same time, so
Okay.
it was not just Joss, it was also COVID shut them down for
Okay.
however long the
Yes.
period of time was.
And I there could have been a lot of, I'm just, there's been, at one point Joss was writing a Batgirl script and a Wonder Woman script, and he has a way of kind of taking his sweet time. So I think there
And
might have
he
been
did.
some dragging of the feet by him for whatever reason to continue past 6, and then at some point someone said, okay, let's just
We're
cut
taking
it off and new people come in.
Joss has a habit of having a lot of irons in the fire. So he'll work on one piece and then go, I'm going to stop for a bit, work on this piece, stop, do another. So for him to finish the whole thing, the 6 episodes, he actually became creative. If you look at the titles at the end, it says created by Joss Whedon. Different director. So it
But
did
that's
change
typical.
over time. Yeah, and that's true.
Yeah,
But
if you
most
look
of
at all the
first
credits,
ones-
they're different, yeah.
yeah, but the
Yeah.
first 6 pretty much were all Joss, and after that, he went to creation. He stepped away from the directing part, probably because, like you said, all the other shows he's doing, so,
Yeah.
like Wonder Woman and all that, so.
Yeah, well, at one point he was doing he did Justice League. He had kind of a deal with DC and then Warner, and now he's kind of doing nothing as far as we know. But he's had issues. Anyway,
Okay.
yes.
So just with that episode 6 then, we saw a bunch of characters in episode 6, right, where we're dropped in and we go, what happened, huh?
Yeah.
Is this the right time? Yeah.
Yeah, did I
Okay.
record the wrong one? Yeah.
Do we see any of those characters again in the final? Okay, so that was kind of a
There's
one-off that set
there's
something
like
up.
one flashback with one character one time.
Yeah.
And it was something that
Yeah,
they had
that's
already filmed that they squeezed in there for effect.
It was a clip they cut out and then they put
Yeah.
back in.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what's good now?
Which I think is part of why I didn't. I loved the world that they built in the first 5 episodes. Thoroughly loved that world. It was, and which is why I like urban fantasy, because it's something I know, I can relate to, I understand it, and now you're gonna twist it. Okay, that's interesting. How can I relate to it? Okay, let's twist it again. And before long, you have this whole new wonderful world. And then you rip that world out from under me and throw me in a very traditional, spacey, military show that is not what I just got invested in.
It's like
You
controlled
stole it
chaos.
from me.
Yeah.
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 It's like in season
Ah,
5 of
yeah,
Buffy,
right.
where you see Buffy's sister just dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, by the
Everyone's
way, you
going,
have a
huh?
sister.
Yeah, he likes to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joss
Yeah.
likes to throw you a total loop.
Yeah.
I
And sometimes it works. After a while, I accepted cis, but sometimes it just doesn't work.
I liked the twist because I'm just a fan of those things, I guess. But and it kind of episode 7, it was kind of like, well, I guess you should tell the whole crew that you're someone from the future, and
Yeah.
she's like, all right, so gather around, all you touched folks, let's have a little meeting about this thing. So I thought that was just kind of like very like on the nose, like let's just
I
get
love
this
those.
out, as opposed to let's keep this a secret for the next 6 weeks.
Yes.
So,
And she was my through line.
Yeah.
Patience was my
Penance.
penance was my through line. She At first I mean, other than I was really mad at Joss for stealing my Jenny, Penance was how I got through that stuff. You know, she became the center of the show for me, even if she wasn't the lead.
She was always, even the first and second half, she was always the heart.
She was the heart.
She was the heart of what they were doing. I mean, Mrs. True was the muscle.
Mhm.
She was the Batman. I mean, she
Yep.
very much was a female Victorian steampunk Batman
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
character. Penance was really Dick Grayson Robin, the bright and shiny, happy, keeps Batman grounded. Some degree, he created a female Batman and Robin in Victorian England with powers of some type. So it's a weird mashup of stuff that he did. Just so it's out there, so there's no. I hated the second half. I'll say that. I hated the second half.
Tell us
Loved
how
the
you
first
really
half.
feel.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. It definitely wasn't as strong.
But,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
Penance, I love Penance all the way through. I did think that the writers in the second half lost a little bit of her charm.
Yeah.
Even though she was still the heart, her voice wasn't, well, it wasn't as consistent because you had different people writing it, but I don't think her voice was as strong. There was a lot of stuff, like Henry mentioned, that, well, we need to just tell everybody. So, boom, here it is. And she does things cute, so we'll have her be cute while doing it. It's almost like a checklist of let's
Oh.
get these things out of the way
Yeah.
so we get to
Yeah.
a different story that we want to tell instead of whichever direction Joss was going, which we don't really know.
We really don't know.
You know, and it's kind of like we got to see two different Justice Leagues. We got to see Joss's Justice League
Oh,
and
Snyder.
Zack Snyder's.
Yeah.
It'd be wonderful if we could get Joss to release like his, show Bible of where he was going with this show,
See, yeah,
just to see.
that's what, and I don't know if we have ever, maybe one day we will. I don't know if it's ever been revealed, like, how far was he into the writing process on the last half, if at all, before
Right.
the new group came in. I don't know.
That man doesn't do anything without having the whole story in his head. I'm
I
sure
think-
he's
I-
got
yeah,
it somewhere.
I figure he had at least an inkling, something, at least.
But we don't know if
Yeah,
where it went is where he intended it to.
right.
And that's the question.
And what did you guys think? Because it was, I guess this is just what you get with the first season. You wrapped up a storyline, but then you opened up new stuff, and they even had like a post credits. And
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was a little bit of an interesting choice, only in that they had to know that there was not going to be a season 2. So
If it took them 2 years to do the first one, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure they knew.
So,
Yeah.
so it was odd that they kind of were like, well, let's just leave some stuff open,
Yeah.
just in
Just in
case.
case.
There's a 0.01% chance that we come back.
And that is what sealed the deal for me. I was like, it was almost as bad as, no, it was equally as bad as Game of Thrones last episode. Really,
Wow.
yeah. I watched that and I went, really? That's where you're gonna go? You're gonna
Build all
you're gonna build up all these people who are learning how to use their power and owning it and enjoying it and making it part of themselves, and then take it away and then give it back to them, and then make the characters that you really liked horrible and unlikable.
I agree with that.
And that's just, and that lost me. That last episode, I was like,
Yeah, if you see the.
if I had not watched the second half, I would have rewatched the first 5 episodes. But that one, I was like, done.
Yeah,
Like,
the
which
final,
characters didn't you like?
yeah,
Pardon me?
Which characters didn't you like?
so many.
There
You'll
is,
see if you watch it.
yeah.
Have you
Oh,
seen
she
all?
has.
I've seen
Oh,
So,
so
yeah.
which ones did you like? Did you like all of them?
I love Augie.
I did.
I like that.
Oh, I
thought
still
they
love him.
I thought they destroyed Augie in the second.
They,
No, I didn't.
they destroyed him.
It made perfect
Because it
sense,
was too
actually.
sudden.
Yeah.
They threw it in the last 2 episodes. No, give me some flavor of that at the beginning. Okay.
You can
But
see,
I never saw it, and
I
and I
Oh, you
threw it through me.
I saw there were little hints of how he was bullied by his sister.
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh,
just
yes.
The fact, and it just totally made sense. He was like mistaken for a psychopath when he was probably just on the autism spectrum somewhere, and I felt so bad for him. And I kind of cheered when he killed his sister. I'm kind of morbid
Yeah.
with that, but
Yeah.
I'm like, no,
Yeah.
she
But
turned
he
out
always
what
was
she
so-
She
was.
was,
Just
yeah,
for-
she
He
was.
was always so
a bad
cowardly.
person.
He was scared of his sister. I
Well,
mean, he
yeah,
was frightened
like,
of her.
She,
Even.
she tried to have him lobotomized just for standing up to her. So
Yeah.
I love him.
Oh, yeah.
Even more after part 2.
And he was one of my favorite characters, and he was one of the reasons that I kept watching. Yeah.
And
Until the last 2 episodes.
another one,
But she watched.
Mabel. I want to say Mabel. I loved Mabel, and I'm not even going to try to do the language thing, but
Yeah.
she was always, even though you couldn't understand a word she was saying, she was always so upbeat and friendly and happy. And if Penance wasn't around, she would have become the heart, I believe, of
Yeah.
the show. I think.
And you knew what she was saying.
And you could figure out what she was saying, even if you didn't know the words.
Yeah.
And then to have her try to become true, and then when that didn't work out, okay, I'll become Malady. And then I'll just be crazy, and then I'll just be weird. And then I won't like my friend anymore, but then I will like my friend, but maybe I don't like my friend. And
Yeah.
they couldn't figure out what they wanted to do with her. So it's not the character, it's the writing. I hate same way I didn't like what they did with Augie, I did not like what they did with Mabel. And you can take a character down a direction I don't like if you write it well. I just don't think they wrote
The
Or just
cast.
Make it flow better.
Yeah.
And it just stopped. I mean, they were, well, now we're gonna be the bad guy, or I'm gonna be the good guy. It just,
The cast was so strong.
I like
So
the cast.
strong.
Yes.
To pull this many people into a panel that was 2 years in between the half seasons. The cast managed to put together an amazing show with the writing that they were given in the second half.
Yeah. So how many people saw Werewolf by Night on Disney Plus?
I decided not to watch it.
Oh, what's that?
So Laura Donnelly
Yeah,
Oh,
she was
yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
is tremendous
Jenny.
in that she is one of the best. I think she's one of the best actresses out there.
Yep.
That's
I agree.
doesn't have a lot of critical
Publicity, yeah.
publicity. But she was terrific in that. So if you enjoy her in The Nevers, you should definitely check out Werewolf by Night.
She was an Outlander too.
And the first couple of seasons of Outlander.
Anybody seen
Okay.
Outlander?
And now they recast
So
her.
she's in that.
They recast her.
Oh.
They recast Jenny. I'm very angry at Joss for that. Because no one can stand up to that actress. She's amazing. Yeah. And I haven't even seen the new actress yet, and I still don't like her. I told you. I warned you all. Opinions, right? Okay.
I will say, something you said, you hated the way that twist in episode 6 happened. I will say, first, I loved episode 6, Comic Henry. I like those kind of twists. But if I was sitting in the writer's room, like if Joss was sitting there while he was running things and said, I got these ideas, I want to do this, what do you think? I honestly think the best direction that show could have gone is after episode 5, finish up your kind of core story, but this could be, flashback to the 80s, 22 episodes a season and pick your favorite duo, whether it's Moonlighting, Remington Steele, Heart to Heart, pick your favorite one, but the adventures of Penance and True, week to week,
Yeah.
That'd be
solving
great.
mysteries, whatever.
Yeah, that would
That
be
would
great.
be awesome.
And the other people, and it could have been good backstories
Yes.
too.
Oh, yeah.
You could have fleshed it out so well
Yeah.
and had all of that, because every so often you had Mr. Pesto and others on Moonlighting having a side story and all that.
Yeah.
Any of those stories can have that side stuff.
You guys will make up your own choices on that one.
Yeah.
You'll be like,
So the
Bastards.
fanfic for the Nevers, if I'm assuming it exists out there, I haven't read any of it.
Oh,
I
I'm
need
sure
to
it
go-
exists.
I need to go find someone and see if anybody wrote anything better than. Again, the actors and actresses did a fantastic
Yep,
job
with what they had.
what they were given. The sets looked just as good. The effects were good. Everything about the second season was just as good, except the writing and the writing choices. The writing was not as tight. I could forgive that,
Yeah.
except the writing choices. I didn't like where they went, and I could even get behind where they went if they had constructed it better. It's just,
Yeah.
Were they kind of in limbo because of COVID? Because
yeah, and that's what
that
we
A
was
little bit.
probably what happened. Like they didn't know. Are we getting another season? Are they not? And then maybe at the last minute they found out they weren't, and so they kind of just scrambled to just.
Let's just finish it. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, you
probably
got 6
what happened.
episodes to close it down in 5 episodes. We're gonna close it down in 5 episodes. That's really hard to do with a
Yeah.
show. You know, if
Didn't
it had
that
went
happen with
22
Dollhouse?
episodes, what's that?
Didn't that happen with Dollhouse?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Dollhouse.
Fox happened to Dollhouse.
Yeah.
though.
Fox,
Oh yes, Fox.
Fox happens to Joss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fox did that.
Fox
And-
and Joss don't get along.
I do think it was a little bit of a surprise. I mean, they probably could read the writing on the wall that they're going to be not coming back for another season. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But I think they had hope because there was still a chance. It premiered to some of the best numbers on HBO Max.
Yeah.
It was very sought after. It premiered really well. They knew COVID, and I think they probably convinced themselves, oh, we can survive this. We can come back. With all the problems Joss had, they put a female producer in charge. HBO's not going to cancel us because with all the problems that Joss had,
They weren't big problems. Let's be honest.
they're going to want to keep a female-led show about females going strong to overcome the Joss factor of that. I think they probably deceived themselves a little bit that they had a reroute, and that's why they didn't wrap it up quite as tightly. And then HBO goes and cancels it and sells it off to the Rokus and Tubies and
Yeah,
everyone
they
else.
didn't count on Discovery doing
Yes.
what it did.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and canceling Westworld as well and selling it off.
Oh,
Yeah.
See, I tried to get into Westworld. I
Shows
couldn't
got
do it.
dumped on
I tried.
TV.
Yeah.
I adore Westworld.
Yeah, the corporate, the Warner Brothers to AT&T to Discovery, constant turnover. They didn't. You're right. They didn't
I
count
can't
on
even
all of that.
keep track of who's who anymore. I stopped trying. It's like, let me find that show that person talked about.
Yeah.
I don't even care what channel it's on, because, you know, at the end of the strike, they're all gonna be down to maybe 2, so it doesn't matter.
Yes.
I would
Okay,
say
so here's a question, and I think it's towards the end of episode 6. There's a line about, and you're still on the ceiling. Does the alien ever get out of the ceiling?
I think so.
Tell you. I mean,
There was something with like the mad scientist, or that's where I kind of got. They never explained the lady in the phone lines. Like that's
they
yeah.
didn't, and you're right.
His
it
mother
sounds
or
they were
something.
going a lot of different places, and they had a lot of interesting stuff going on. But I guess they got cut off. Like
They-
got the
There was a lot of
They
plot
put-
threads and characters that they just piled on.
Yeah, they put that thread in a lot of different things, and they never decided where they wanted to go with it.
Because like literally
Yeah.
the same thing happened to Carnival Row.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was okay, so let's bring that up. There was so much similarity between Carnival Row and Nevers. They were in a similar enough vein that I think it diluted both of their audiences. And so therefore people that were fans of like that type of setting got dispersed. And so neither, now Carnival Row got more time to create an audience, but
Yeah,
It
that
just-
second
I got
season was so
That was an
lacking,
even
it was
bigger
terrible.
gap. That was like 2019, and then
Was
just
it?
this year.
I just got so confused about which series was I watching.
They were-
And especially when they dropped 6 on us, I went,
Yeah.
did Carnival Row go really off the rails? What happened?
I don't. There's the distinction. Like it's similar setting, but the Nevers went the more sci-fi route, and Carnival Row is more fantasy.
Okay,
That was.
okay.
Yeah, but you're right. They started
Mhm.
very, very similar.
Yeah.
Carnival Row was always a little more pure fantasy because you had
Yeah,
the
it, was,
Fae
it,
and
felt,
all,
it
all
had like
that.
this like Celtic kind of mythology, this Eastern European feel to it. It's
And
yeah,
one-
similar setting, but they were very distinct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and one was definitely a little darker. One a little more Buffy version. I mean, it's Joss's voice.
Yeah.
I will say.
I wish he would have stayed on.
Yeah,
The,
but-
the controversy, I don't think was a very big deal.
Well,
Unpopular opinion.
No,
Well,
he was a bad boss. He cheated on his wife.
Well-
Was not a nice person.
The Nevers cast
Okay.
adored him.
he completely
The Nevers
altered, he
cast loved
completely
him, the
destroyed
Firefly
Justice
class
League
loved
out
him.
of ego.
Ooh.
It's workplace drama, basically. You're not
Yeah.
gonna like everybody you work with, and when you're in that sort of stressful production, people are gonna clash. It happens. It doesn't make anyone a good guy or a bad guy. It's kind of really easy for people to judge.
We can agree to disagree on that. I have a reasonably strong opinion about that because for everything that he put Ray Fisher through is like
Oh,
was
please.
trash.
He made him say booyah.
Okay, he totally changed this. He changed the script. He changed
Because
the
they
whole
understand the
story.
script.
He changed the whole story.
The studio
Cyborg was
That's the
was
changes
was
that
the
studio
central
wanted.
focus of the movie when Zack Snyder made it. But
That
when,
was-
when Zack Snyder left, he completely changed the
Because
movie.
that's the changes that
And
WWE
he
wanted.
put, I mean,
That's
And
we
what
can
he
agree
was
to
hired to
disagree,
do.
but I just don't like that part of the movie. I just really feel like.
That's how movies work, like, he got hired to change the movie to
Can you
WWE's
please
like-
stop interrupting him?
But anyway, back to the numbers. Yeah, and that's why the Joss factor, like I said, I hate to even bring it up. You can't talk about this show without bringing it up because it's such a massive thing.
Yeah.
And I will say that, again, his background aside, he had been away from TV for quite a while. He'd been doing the Avengers, he'd done Justice League, he'd done stuff like that. When I sat down and watched the first episode of the Nevers, the very first one, before we knew anything else that was going to happen, there was a part of me that was like, this is what I've been missing for years. He's back. And
Right.
he repeats himself over and over and over. There's so much repetitive. You can sit here and say,
I mean,
Penance
it's
is
not-
Kaylee, is Willow,
Yeah.
there's certain character tropes.
And it's not like
Yes.
it's not smart stuff. It's like it's good stuff. It's
It
like,
works.
Again, it's like
Yeah.
the show is brilliant. It's just like
Yeah.
you know, I mean, sometimes just listen to it.
And yes, I did actually say out loud, damn you, Joss.
I think I said exactly
Been said
the
many
same
times.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was mad about it.
And then I went, I should have expected that.
To your question about the ceiling, one thing, not to answer that directly, but one thing to keep in mind is in that episode 6, there at the end, she gets one of her ripplings,
Yeah.
and we get a tease
Yes,
of a whole lot of stuff.
yeah.
I think that's part of what threw off the second 6 for me, is because all that stuff was out there. We got a tease of probably 5 or 6 or 7 different storylines
Right.
that Joss had some grand plan for.
Yeah.
Good or bad. His ideas could have been horrible for all we know. I mean,
Right.
we don't know.
We don't.
Right.
He had a plan for 5 or 6 or 7 ideas, and they couldn't just not address them. They had to do something with them, but they had different ideas, or you assume they were different ideas, or whatever. So, what was that shot of Mabel? Come with me, or whatever. What does that mean? We don't have any idea. Do you think you were alone? Well, that's where the mother in the telephone line came from. Is do you think you're alone? But we never got any of them really answered completely, because I don't think they knew what to do with it. Because I think to some degree they were as confused and mystified as we were. It's almost like watching the last episode of The Prisoner. If anyone go back to the '60s or remember that, completely what? Yeah, that little rippling was, huh?
I
And
really
they
wish
didn't know where to go.
explained that. The mother in the telephone. I really wanted to know who she was, but I was so
We'll never
glad
know.
they never
And this
explained
is
it.
one we'll never know.
Ugh.
It's kind of like the episode Jane Espenson did of Battlestar Galactica called The Plan, which was a standalone episode after the show had ended. And it wrapped up a bunch of loose ties. And every time I watch it, I just say, oh, this is so great. And I just grind my teeth in frustration because I keep thinking, this is what should have happened with Buffy and Angel, which I know will never ever happen.
Yeah.
Even if everyone agreed to do it, everyone's 2 decades older, and it simply wouldn't work. But I feel like it should have worked, so I sat down and wrote the one piece of fan fiction I've ever written in my life in which it happened.
So that you could get it out of your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Very
Nothing
good.
wrong with
What
that.
else
How
is
many
fan
hits
fiction
have you
for
got?
other than
How many
making
hits have
things
you
that want
gotten?
to make?
Yes.
I've never
Where do
published
we
it.
find it?
Oh, it's on my computer.
Okay. So
Writing for you,
when
that's-
you publish it, let us know so that we can
Yeah.
read it. It sounds like that would be really
Put it
fascinating.
on the tracks
sometimes
I
fan.
can
nice
tell
to
you
write
the
something
whole
down.
story in
Yeah,
5
Facebook
minutes.
page. I got kind of a fun question.
There's somebody back in the back
yeah,
that has a
That's
question.
probably a better question than mine.
Just him bringing up the plan makes me think about my frustration with Blood and Chrome. That I thought it was such a great opportunity for a prequel to Battlestar Galactica.
Oh,
And I
right.
feel like that could be a great opportunity for the Nevers as a prequel. You know,
Yep.
I mean, the future is the past, right? So maybe they could. It'd be great if they could explore that. Right?
Yeah.
Because there is so much time travel.
And there is still opportunity if someone wanted to pick it up and run with it. They left a lot there as an opportunity if they wanted to.
I'd
If
like
they
to
have
see
a
them go
co-host.
backwards with it and take it back to where it was before the 6th
Yeah.
episode, you know.
Yeah.
Or at least like flesh out all these little loose ends that they put.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with a series of novels. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
No, that would be fascinating.
Yeah.
Was it big time?
4400. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, just something that can continue the story on. Personally, I would like for them to forget the second 6 and have Joss write a series of novels, just because I'd be really curious, what was the original idea? Where did he want to go with it? His biggest strength is writing. He obviously, I agree, his weakness is running a large production. He was not ready for that. He can run a smaller production.
Well, he ran 3 shows at once.
Yes,
Yeah. And that's not healthy.
It's,
That's
Probably
that's
Avengers pretty
that's
well.
bossy and it kills
I
people.
thought he did
It's,
Yeah.
it puts, oh god, my
Yeah.
brain would explode.
but
Why
his
did you do
his writing was always where his biggest strength was. From Toy Story to Speed to Buffy and on. I mean, he's and who knows how many scripts, because he was known as a script doctor there in Hollywood. He would come in and punch up other people's scripts to give them those lines that we all remember so well in different movies. I can't think. I read something once of some of his lines. This wasn't one of them, but things like in Die Hard, yippee-ki-yay, mother. That was not his. But he would come in and punch up a script to give you those moments that would take a script from being good to memorable to an audience. So I think a series of novels by him maybe would be his re-entry back into media or whatever, and would keep him away from people where he's not good.
There you go.
Would disagree.
Yeah.
Well, no, Nathan Fillion said he'd work with him again.
Yeah, Jewel State,
Yeah.
Alan
Many-
Tudyk,
Oh,
Miranda,
yeah.
all of
Many
them.
people have said that, and many people have gone the opposite direction. There's been just as many.
They just
Yeah.
wouldn't date him
It's
or
just,
marry him.
it's just
That's the
certain
two things.
personalities mesh together and others don't. That's
Yeah.
pretty much it.
So the question I was going to ask, kind of a silly one, but I thought it was kind of a fun one to ask, and we have a few minutes left here. All right, Galante shows up right now. Boom, spores come down. What power would you want? If you could get a spore, what power would you want? Anyone.
Telekinesis.
I'd want to be the doctor. I'd want to be a healer.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was very.
And I think he's probably one of my favorite characters because he was kind of like the steadying voice for truth. Like I think he's one that kind of kept her at it. Even Keel, like in the early episodes, I think. But you don't really see that much of him. It's like you see him like in every other episode.
Yeah. But important. Every time he's there is so important.
It really
for
is.
him to
Oh, yeah.
be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was quite central, and I did thoroughly love his powers. There were so many random ones, but I don't know. I think it might be fun to throw some fire around. That could be fun.
Even though I used to love Gatling guns, but I hate Gatling guns ever since I saw him shooting up everybody. Maldy's henchman. I was just like,
Oh, yeah.
I hate Gatling guns. I just don't use them
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
So you said telekinesis.
Yeah, the lady that made things float was cool. I wish we would have seen more of her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Got that. Return to glass.
Invincibility.
Invincibility.
The girl is like a giant. I don't know.
Yes.
She's just big. That's
Yeah.
pretty much it.
That was a good storyline.
She was great.
Well, one of my two
The
favorite.
dad, that was
I always see now. I always thought that the dad that was on the governing panel that had his daughter
Yes.
underneath.
Yeah.
I thought that was Primrose's. No,
Yeah, Primrose. That's right.
Primrose's dad. And then I'm like, I swear that was in the first set of episodes. And then at the other one, it's like, no, that's not who's in the basement.
She
And I'm like,
was from,
what?
She was from the aristocracy or the upper class
Yeah.
or anything like that.
I guess all those guys start looking the same after a while.
Yeah.
You know, they wore the same clothes. They were all snobby as.
Old white
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, it was just yeah.
Well, my two favorite characters.
Now, what was with the tourney thing? What was with the frickin' tourney thing?
That was just something
I
somebody
want to
came up
know.
with.
That's a storyline I want to know. What's with the tourney thing? Because the stuff didn't even move.
Anybody at History Major, was that something from Victorian England that? Because it was obviously them choosing to vote with somebody.
Yeah.
And that was them visually. You know, that was kind of a. Okay, I've made a decision. I back the first person who said it, or second, or third, or
Maybe
whatever.
like a
But
parliament thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
did that come from somewhere real? I don't know.
I don't know.
Good question.
And I wanted to see more of the Ferryman Club.
We
Yeah, the
saw a
Ferryman
lot.
Club was
of
We
the
saw a
Ferryman Club.
lot of the Ferryman Club, but I wanted to see where that's a
I
storyline that could have been
wasn't
great.
crazy about Hugo as a character until those last two episodes, and
Yeah.
then he made me love him.
Yeah, he was great.
He was always fun, even when you didn't like him though. He was
Yeah.
integral and it fit.
At first I'm like, why is he here? What's his deal? And then in the last couple episodes, and then they killed him,
And then they-
obviously.
And
Your
a friend
power.
of Augie, and he was a friend of Augie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would want the strength thing that, you know, when she got mad, she would heal.
Oh, Malady.
That,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Malady,
It was like,
every damn bit of damage, she got stronger
Right.
and stronger.
like
Yeah.
through pain, she got stronger.
Yeah.
This whole.
Yeah, she had to punch something to kind of,
Yeah.
it's like stop it from like doing this. Or, yeah, I like that one.
Well, see, now you
See, that's part of what I did not like about the second half is because Mrs. True was very likable in the first half, and she was just angry and punching things the whole second half, and I'm like,
yeah.
She's not likable.
Don't you like
yeah, I just didn't
She
like
had
her
not to
anymore.
be- She didn't want to be likable.
I mean, you remember the first half, so you want to like
You
her
want
again.
to like her, yeah,
But
Right.
she's
yeah.
not in the second half.
And
What-
thankfully
what's your
she had
party?
Pennis. Pennis.
Well, yeah, well, because you had me thinking like anything. I was like, oh, we're limiting it to the powers in the show.
Nah.
So yeah,
I was thinking
You get to pick your own, because now there's a whole bunch more.
yeah,
I wouldn't mind
super-
Desiree power either, like the power of suggestion, whereas
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
she was
that's
a
a-
treat.
That's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
I'll
Totally forgot that one, but
Yep.
yes.
Yeah, 100%.
I'll go with that one. I mean,
Yeah.
super strength is always nice.
The henchman with the voice, he was
Yeah.
freaky.
I'll say mine would be similar to Penance. One of my two favorite characters in Legion of Superheroes is Brainiac 5. He's a super intellect, supposed to be the smartest character around, and he creates their flight rings, and he creates this, and he creates that, and one thing after another. And Penance, he wasn't exactly the same, but it's the same idea. And it's almost like if you have that, you can be a better doctor.
Right.
You can figure out a way, well, I'm not the strongest, but I can figure out the right leverage or leverage. if you're a pirate, to leverage or whatever. Yeah, you could figure all the rest out if you had that level of intelligence. So I don't know. It's
You could
I
augment
know we're
everybody
almost
else.
done. Who was the girl that spoke and you couldn't understand?
Mabel.
Myrtle.
Yeah.
Mabel.
Or Myrtle, not
Myrtle.
Mabel, not Myrtle, Myrtle.
And what was she speaking though that you couldn't? I thought she was speaking backwards.
Every
Very
single
nice.
word was a different
language,
language.
right?
Yeah,
Is that what it
they were
was?
just switched
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she
And-
said one in
and-
Mandarin and one in
In
Russian.
Russian.
Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like, is she speaking that backwards that I just don't
And yet you
understand
could
it?
understand
And it
her.
would sound
What an
Chinese
incredible
at one time.
actress that she can get it across.
And learn all those lines in different languages.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I definitely hope hope that a lot of actors from this show will get some more work, because there was a terrific cast and a lot of them you've not seen in much of anything. So.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I grudgingly loved the first 6 episodes, loved them so very much, and did not watch the second half. So can we revisit the question?
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
There's
My-
some
my
cool stuff
opinion,
going
no.
on. I mean, it doesn't wrap up, but there's some really interesting ideas and stuff. Like, I can still appreciate like what something's trying to do, even if it doesn't totally.
But they only got
land.
6 episodes.
I
to
don't
do it
need
in, so that's
closure. I
fine.
just want to know
If you
if
don't
it's worth
need-
my time.
If you don't need closure, don't waste your money.
Okay.
I would not, thank you, Kellen, I would not
Or
have
your time.
You
paid,
could probably find a torrent.
I
somewhere.
would not have paid with money. I was okay with spending my time without spending money.
I'm saying that on
have to
Tubi and stuff,
because
it's
it's on
free. It is
Yeah.
free. You don't
Yeah,
get
it was on
buy.
Tubi.
Yeah.
Now
Right,
you
right.
just find a
And
A lot
I-
of things that are free that I'm not going to watch.
And
Yeah.
I love the first half so much. I was dying to see that second half. I really, really, really wanted to, because I loved it so much. After the fact, I wish I'd never seen them.
Okay.
I really
See, I didn't
wish
even
I'd
know they
never
had
seen
6
them.
other episodes.
Yeah.
I
I-
never knew they had 6. I was like,
I-
oh, that ended it. That was pissing me off.
I'm
right there.
glad to have seen them just because they existed, and I would be curious to have not seen them. You know, that kind of thing. Like, I kind of want to see. You know what I mean? Like, you want to satisfy your curiosity. It was
Yeah,
more like
yeah,
that.
Right.
You know.
But at least go in with your expectations lower. And if it turns out you disagree with us, if your expectations are lower and you love it, you'll love it that much more.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad idea to go with them lowered. I went in with very high expectations because I wasn't worried so much as, well, this is all established. Almost everybody in the show is still in the show.
Right.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize how much that one
But you
voice.
see the writer and the director change, because it's not just involved with writing on the second six.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's not anyone.
He's just a
Yeah.
creator.
It's not even. It's not Jane Espenson. It's no one.
Right, yes, you're right. They
Like
took,
a
they threw them all
blueprint
in,
for the
brought
whole
new ones.
They threw it out.
That's what we're
They threw
still
it out.
Really?
not
Yeah.
sure about, but I think they probably did.
So-
a lot of it. Probably.
Does anybody see the full 12, love it, and totally disagree with us?
I don't know if I totally disagree, but I felt that there was enough there to resolve most of my questions.
Okay.
And, you know, given my propensity to overthink everything and anything,
I love you.
I could easily come up with my own solutions to those issues.
Yes.
And just, you know, especially realizing they're never gonna come back and finish this.
Okay.
And you go, okay, well, then I'm going to decide that this is what happens.
Right.
Yeah, you wrote your own in your
Yeah,
head. It's
yeah.
like,
I
that's
love
how-
doing that.
Yeah.
So how did you wrap up why? Because that last episode never gave me why.
Honestly, I don't know if I could even remember how, because it's been probably 8 or 9 months since I've actually watched the show.
Okay.
Because I had it
Yeah.
on Max, and then when it went off, I was like, crap.
Yeah,
There's a
I enjoyed the second 6 more than my husband did, except for the last episode, which bumped Quantum Leap's ending.
Oh,
The
boy.
worst ending ever.
Yeah.
I hated the last episode. The next 5
episode 12.
were okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Episode 12 I didn't like, but
Because,
the next 5 was fun, and it is, you don't have to pay for it. It
Yeah.
was fun to watch. That last episode, it was like, no. They just,
yeah,
no.
because they took it away and then gave it back again. What?
Would you say this is comparable to what happened to Cordelia in season 4 of Angel?
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my God, do we have to
Oh,
talk about
yeah.
Cordelia in season 4 of Angel?
Yeah.
Prob-
There is when I
Probably.
dumped that
Yeah.
pregnancy
That's
on the
probably a
crew at
good
the last minute, and they
way
had
to
to
look at
scramble to fix the script.
It was, I don't know where it came from. But I also have to admit that because this last 5 became so dark and so angry and so militaristic, and our world became so dark and so angry and so militaristic, that I wanted to watch something that got me away from that. And I think that
Yeah.
colored my vision for why I really didn't like the last ones. I really enjoyed Victorian England.
Because no
And-
battles ever happened.
And oh yay, urban fantasy in Victorian England, and we can deal with what I kind of already know, but something new. And now it just got so angry, and I'm like, I don't need more anger. I don't need it.
I could appreciate, even, like I said, even though it didn't land, they didn't get to wrap things up, I can appreciate what they were trying to do. That, I'm glad I got to see them, because it had a lot of just interesting potential, and like, that would be kind of cool. That,
But
like,
see, I
yeah.
don't think they were trying to do anything. They didn't know what they were trying to
Yeah.
do.
Or they had maybe some
I think they're trying to
storylines
close
that,
it.
They were trying to close it.
they were trying to, but
Yeah,
like,
I think to your question about the Angel thing, I'd actually compare it to a different Joss show, sort of. Shield, Agents of Shield.
Oh, that one.
although
Drax.
working on
That
it,
was
like,
startling.
right-
Unless they cut it.
The artwork fell down.
So, yeah, Joss created it with his, I believe it was his brother, kicked it off, and then went off to do Avengers or other, other stuff. Whatever his next project was, he didn't stay as involved. So it's not about him in this case, but it kicked off a show that had a lot of potential. And then, because of what was coming with Civil War, the show's hands were tied so tightly. The first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just feels like it's floundering and doesn't go anywhere, because they had to wait for the whole reveal of Hydra and all the rest with S.H.I.E.L.D. And so you had later seasons of S.H.I.E.L.D. are fine, but that one season wasn't bad.
It was
I mean,
just too late.
I would even say, like my wife said, the first 5 of those last 6, so 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, are probably fine, but they landed it so badly, and they messed up some of the characters so much, like True and such. And I think their hands were tied between COVID and budgets and Joss leaving and directives from Warner Brothers, AT&T, Discovery. I mean, all the different stuff
I
going
don't
on.
remember anything anymore.
Yeah, I think that's probably closer than the Cordelia comparison is, wasn't necessarily bad, just
They should have just
your
done a
question,
musical
enjoy the
at
first
end.
thing.
They-
Just enjoy
yeah,
the
that's
first
the only
six.
thing that was missing is a musical episode.
They could have done that.
Quick speed round question to end on. Steampunk, you know, I'm hearing, you know, lots of stuff in space has been successful. Is there a reason steampunk never seems to get a successful series?
Oh,
Just like not a lot of people aren't into it, which is a shame because I love steampunk.
I always thought Firefly was always steampunk to me, but.
Yeah, Firefly
Right, but-
is.
His Dark
Well, it wasn't on
Materials-
set, it wasn't successful.
successful.
His Dark
Um,
Materials is technically
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
steampunk.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I get
The two Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock movies were very steampunk.
But I think the
Throw
two
those out.
best examples, Never is in Firefly, you can't really judge on their success because one, you have Fox who just kills stuff left and right, and the other COVID. Joss's stuff aside, COVID probably killed it more than anything else. So I don't know. It could be we'd have had two very successful ones if just, you know, if Fox had passed on it and the CW had picked up Firefly instead.
Well,
we could still be
Disney now
watching today.
owns Firefly, so we'll see. Because they bought the rights, so we'll see if they
So
do
as
anything.
I really wish I
The
could
cast
see
doesn't really
more
matter.
Bruce three-wheeler.
Well, I think.
I love that.
Yes.
I do see
Freaking
it.
awesome.
No, I
Donald
do.
Duck
I
will
see them
now
all
be,
over
you know,
Savannah.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes, I mean not like wooden, but those three-wheelers with the two in front
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
all over Savannah. I'm like, I want one now.
Oh, those like
I
those
want one.
smart
Yeah, but
cars.
it's,
Yeah.
I want them to like just one up like Cruise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
Chitty
Yeah.
chitty bang bang.
Yeah,
Mhm.
chitty
The
chitty.
last time there was two
There's a good
cosplayers, they
example of
had like the
successful
cardboard
steampunk.
version of the car.
Chitty
It was
chitty
Yeah.
so
bang bang.
cool.
I love Chitty Chitty.
Yeah.
Bang
Yeah, we
Bang.
do
That's
that
actually a
because,
good
you know.
point, yeah.
Yeah,
Dick
that
Van
was
Dyke's
like
still alive,
that was like
so-
steampunk before
100
steampunk.
years old.
It really
you could
was,
do
Yeah. The original steampunk, and it's still.
Well, one thing we want to make sure we don't forget to say is you'll see these buckets in every panel room you go in. This is the charity this year for Dragon Con. This is Cure, which is Cure Childhood Cancer. Give till it hurts because it's not hurting us as much as it's hurting the kids. And if you want something collectible while you're doing it, we have a few of the coloring books left. These are the Dragon Con coloring books. A $10 donation gets you one of these. And I don't know how many. I don't know if you know how many we have left, but it's only supposed to be a few.
That's what we have right now for this room and about the same for next room.
Oh, so one or two. Okay. So get them while
Very
they're
good.
hot.
So
Very
they've been,
good.
they've been selling this.
Very good.
Yeah.
There's a one by Karen Halligan. If you're a fan of Karen Halligan,
Nice. Very good.
and then you can make it all your own. You get to color it.
And Dragon Con's matching everything up to how much is it?
125,000.
125,000. So we're hoping that they raise $250,000
Yeah.
towards Cure Childhood Cancer this year.
Right.
So help be a part of their record. You know, we love setting records. We love helping.
Did anybody hear who was the 500,000th blood donor? Because I saw that they were gonna have their 5,000th Dragon Con blood donor on Thursday, I think, which was awesome. Very awesome.
Might be in the Daily Dragon or whatever.
I haven't seen a Daily Dragon. Is it only digital this year?
No, if you go up to those little,
yeah,
booths.
I haven't even seen the information booths. I've been like,
There's one in the Hyatt, there's one in the West End.
yeah.
I'm sure there's one.
I was thinking that the other day. I was like, why haven't I picked up a dragon?
And they'll disappear quickly.
And they will
Sometimes.
disappear. That's
There's
true.
one opposite the escalators when you come down onto this level. It's
That's true.
Okay, over by the store.
That's the one I keep missing.
Yeah, the one by the store. Thank you, everybody, for your input and for listening.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate. I honestly,
love what you guys
we thought that
give
the
back to us.
5 of us were gonna be the only
We
people
thought
in the
we'd
room.
be talking to Aaron and that would be a
So,
Like,
obviously, it's a good
6
enough
of us.
show that it brings an audience. They need to pay attention to these things.
I was happy that there's this one and there's a carnival
Keep those
sale
6 episodes
tomorrow.
right
Is there?
Oh, there's
Yeah.
another.
Yeah, thank you for bringing